Hey guys, welcome to Usui Reiki Level 2 with Alicia McNaughton at the Mystical Institute of Healing Arts. Alright, so this is a class where we're going to learn techniques, we're going to learn procedures, we're going to learn methods, and we're going to be going through this manual. You'll receive this manual once you sign up with me separately at theholisticmystic.com, where you're going to buy your one-on-one attunement. Then I will send you this manual. It's a very thorough training manual, and you'll also get a certificate. So this is just the actual class portion. When I teach this class in person, it's a 10-hour class. So that's with a lot of hands-on experience and one-on-one coaching. So the way that I'm doing it now is we'll do our one-on-one coaching when you have your session with me, and we can do that in person or we can do that through Zoom live stream. All right, so I invite you all to get your booklets out if you have them already. If not, I will teach what's in the manual verbally right here. And we're going to be discussing the 3 Usui level 2 symbols. So it's Choku Rei, which is a power key symbol. And these only work once you've been attuned to them. So that it's like an attunement is a ceremony healing process where you're going to receive the energy from a Reiki master to you. And after you receive it, then it's yours. You'll have access to the energy whenever you need it. Seihi Ki, which is the emotional healing symbol, and Honshaze Shonin, which is the long distance healing symbol. So those are the 3 symbols. Those are the famous ones that everybody has heard of. We're going to go over how to do a long distance energy session with a client, with a loved one, with a friend, for your own personal healing, for issues that are going on globally. We're going to go over the attunement process, the Reiki symbols, how to draw the symbols, what the symbols mean, and techniques on how to work in the aura, techniques on Reiki scanning or a cleansing, how to do a session using a photograph. So you can do an energy work session for somebody if you have a picture of them and you have their permission. We're going to teach about that. We're going to teach about Reiki beaming, how to beam somebody with Reiki. And in this booklet, I talk about some extra things, which I like to call Reiki sprinkles. Reiki itself has some key points that should be consistent with all Reiki teachers, I would hope. And then a lot of us specialize in sound healing or specialize in working with psychic development or other things that we like to add in. Some of us are yoga teachers, so we'll add in our own personal flair. But when I do that, I always want to share that that's what I'm doing. So in our booklet here, we do some psychic development because Reiki has a way of activating your own intuitive abilities, and I like people to have a little bit more information, guidance on how to use your own intuitive spiritual gifts. So we're going to go over how to work with a pendulum. This is a pendulum. We're going to go over how to do a 5-element card spread with oracle cards or with tarot, depending on what your preference is. We're also going to go over how to, Reiki objects and how to manifest with Reiki. How to clear a room with Reiki. Just going through and making sure I'm getting everything so that you know what we're going to be doing. All right, so that's going to be our class. I try to keep these classes, to around the 60 or 90 minute realm. since we're working one-on-one, it goes by much faster. There aren't all the class sharing and all the personal stories and everything, which I love. And you know, those things we can do. It's just nice, not everybody has the same availability, so it's nice to have this as an option for your Reiki class. So if people, you know, have to fit it into their schedule. So that's my intention, is to have alternative ways for people to be able to study Reiki, to make this more accessible to you and easier. Okay, so we'll start by bringing in some light. If you do have a candle, I encourage you to light it. If you have any incense, Palo Santo, or sacred sage, this is sage from my garden. I was trained in how to work with sage by Native Americans when I was 11 years old. And it brings everything, it brings everything into 0 point. It is a reset of the energy in the room. So we're gonna visualize the smoke clearing the chakras. Calling in light, calling in Reiki light, calling in the teaching energy of Reiki. And this is for clearing our space. So close your eyes and visualize your space clearing as I do this. Choku-rei, 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 choku-rei. I'm going to bring in the distance symbol, Haonshaze Shonen, Haonshaze Shonen, Haonshaze Shonen, and I'm going to call in the teaching energy. So we're going to set our intentions. We're going to ask that an alignment with your higher self, with your soul purpose, with your Reiki energy, and with your highest good in mind. We're going to ask that all the energy, all the information that comes through to please be in the highest good of all concerned. What you all most need at this time and what you're ready for. So we're going to call in the highest vibrational Reiki light and supportive energies for learning and for teaching Reiki. All right. That always feels good when we remember to tune in ahead of time. Okay, so when you sign up at theholisticmystic.com, there is a little box that you're going to check, and it is what's called a release of liability waiver. In your booklets on page 3 is one for you. Okay, so this is a physical copy, like a hard copy, but you also get a digital file of this book. And I encourage you to have people, you know, fill it out loosely. You don't necessarily have to have all their information, but you just want to know, have you ever had a Reiki session before? You know, if so, when was your last session? Do you have a particular area of concern? Is it okay for me to use essential oils? Is it okay for me to do a hands-on treatment for your head, your shoulders, your knees, your feet? Have them sign it. Another thing that's really great is to discuss the healing process itself, right? So this treatment will not replace conventional medical diagnosis or treatment, right? And it's important for us to be able to work in harmony as holistic health practitioners with medical professionals in Western medicine, and this is how we do that. We make sure that we are not diagnosing or prescribing, because we are not doctors. So you need to make that clear. It's a hands-on energy technique used for stress reduction and relaxation is a good thing for it to say. This again is on page 4. And there are also different things that people need to know about how the healing process works. And we go over that in our Reiki Level 1 class, but once you start to work with some of these energies that are more emotional, and we're working with the emotional body, like Seihiki, what's going to happen is we're looking for the emotional cause, you know, behind disease, And there's some really fun books out there that really aren't necessarily Reiki related, but this one is written by Louise Hay. I did not write this book. This isn't necessarily connected to Reiki, but I do use it in my practice quite a bit. One of the reasons is because it talks about, it's a chart written that has like a part of the body or a disease listed in alphabetical order, and then it has an emotional cause for disease, and then it has an affirmation that you can say to help pull you out of that state of mind into wellness, into balance, into health. So again, this is another Reiki sprinkle that I like to add in. And you know, before your own intuition develops and you're able to tune in and sense where the blockage might be stored in a person's emotional layer of their aura, you can use this book. And I've been using this book since about 2010. And I would say, you know, in my personal experience working with clients as a massage therapist, as an energy healer, as a holistic health practitioner for many years in health spas, in chiropractic offices, working for holistic doctors, working for metaphysical centers, that it's been about 75% accurate, which is really good. So I highly recommend the book Heal Your Body by Louise Hay. And it's a great way to explain to people what we're doing, because we're treating the whole person. We are looking for, okay, so you have this physical symptom, or there's something in your life that you're wanting to manifest, and these things are being blocked by something, right? And I am really good at, this is one of my specialties, I'm really good at being able to see where it's stored, like what trauma is stored and where, and then holding space for them to be able to allow that energy to come up out of their aura and into the light. And when that happens, a lot of pressure releases from that organ, that system, that part of that person's life. And an awareness comes in of how they can realign. And when a person is realigned and they have adjusted their chi and brought the higher vibrational energy of Rei into their chi, Reiki, then creates a healing process. But that healing process is very different than taking a pill, right? So it's just me, and we went over that again in Reiki level 1, but this is something that you want people to understand, that they're going to have feelings come up after their session for anywhere from like 1 to 3 days, sometimes a week, depending on what it is that's coming up for them. Some traumas take a little bit longer to digest, to integrate, but you just want them to know that that's a positive thing. And give them follow-up instructions. So often I'll send them, you know, a list of ways to support themselves during that process. On page 5, there's a really great list of herbal supplements and tinctures and things that they can do to assist their bodies in being able to process through something. So when there is stored trauma on a part of the body and that part of that field is blocked, there are nourishing remedies, supportive, nutritional, herbal supplements that can really help to soothe and nourish that part of the body. And it's, again, different than painkiller. It's different than chemicals. These are natural ways of working with yourself, which is great when you're working with energy work and working with sensitive people and people who have tried Western medicine and want a different approach, and they want to, you know, supplement or maybe wean off of their medical treatment and start to try a different way. So this is a holistic way. This is a holistic approach, and it's a personal choice for them if they want to try a personal, a holistic approach. So you want to make sure that they know that these are methods that have worked for thousands of years. People have been working with plant medicine. They've been working with crystal healing. Let me see if I have any crystals around. People have been working with what naturally grows from the earth for a lot longer than people have been working with Western medicine. So I would love it if the two worlds would come together personally and we could have permission to do both of these things. But a laying on of hands is something that goes all the way back to, you know, the beginning of time, and it's very instinctual. Whenever, you know, I'm sad or hurting, my initial reaction is to place my hand, ow, that hurt, you know, and you want to put your hand right there, because there's palm chakras that allow healing energy to flow from our heart, from the heavenly realms into our crown, into that part of the body, and then it eases the trauma. So it's very natural, you know. Anyways. So let's talk about the attunement process. We talked about the release of liability. So we want to make sure that we're not telling them, oh, I'm going to cure this for you. What we're going to do as Reiki practitioners, which you are after you receive your level 2 attunement, you're considered a Reiki practitioner, is what we're doing is we're agreeing to hold the space and bring the light. And it's up to them to have a relationship with the light. Now we can guide them to connect with the light. We can literally place the light on the area where we're sensing blockage. But if they want to block you, they can block you. If they want to be in receptivity and allow it, then that's when it will come in. It's free will, right? So it's important. That's an important part of giving a Reiki treatment, is to be able to explain how to receive a Reiki treatment. So it's wonderful if you are a hypnotherapist, or if you're a meditation teacher, or if you're a yoga teacher, or if you're an intuitive, to be able to use, or a sound healer, to be able to use other methods to relax the person so that they want to receive the light and they're in a place of receptivity. Okay. Okay. When a person is stuck in their head and they're analyzing everything and they want to know a lot of scientific answers, that's what they need to go and talk to their doctor about. We're here to read energy. We're not here to read a person's medical chart. We're teaching them about their spiritual journey, about their healing process, and how to be in a healing process. And if you are somebody who has a lot of personal healing to do yourself, or has been through a lot of personal healing, you'll have a great wealth of experience to pull from when it comes time to work with somebody else, and you'll have a lot of compassion for that person and what they may or may not be going through. And often what'll happen is the people that come to you will be drawn to you because they can feel from you that you've been there. And what happens when you heal something yourself, you then have the divine blueprint on how to heal that. And so their spirit guides, their higher power knows that, and the Reiki will bring you together because you have that remedy. And being able to pay that forward also continuously affirms that you have actually healed that in yourself. So it works really well. There is a divine design. It's really fun. So oftentimes people will go online, and I'm trying to see where my mug is. I have this Reiki mug, okay, which I love. And it has a chokurei on it. And I had this made for myself. If I were to drink out of this, and because I have a Reiki attunement and I draw a chokurei, this is going to Reiki charge what I'm drinking. And I love it. I love it because I'm a Reiki practitioner, I'm a Reiki master. This symbol is a part of me now. It will always be a part of me because I've had a Reiki attunement, which you're going to have when you set your appointment. But let's say my neighbor borrows this cup and we're having coffee together, and they're using it. It's not necessarily going to work exactly the same way unless I'm sending Reiki to it. But if they have just this mug alone isn't going to call in this energy. It works with the person who's attuned to it. So the symbols are beautiful, they're powerful. They used to, when this was first released in Japan, this was forbidden. These symbols were considered too holy to be on permanent objects, to be written on paper, to be easily accessed on the internet, because they didn't want people to think, hey, I'm a Reiki practitioner, I've got this symbol. This symbol only works when you've had an attunement. Okay, so what happens after you receive a level 2 attunement is I'm going to bring these symbols into your palms, into your third eye, into your crown, into your heart space, and it's going to start to move down into your lower chakras. Your lower chakras, meaning your root chakra, at the base of your spine, your sacral chakra at your sacrum bone, your lower back below the navel, and your solar plexus, which is right around the navel. This is where your human work in the 3D realm is taking place. So oftentimes we want to be in the higher dimensions, and we want to be experiencing our spirit somewhere else, anywhere else. We don't want to be in the world. The world is where a lot of, problems are for us. And some people go to spirituality looking for relief, and it's common and it's there for you. It really is there for you. There's a tremendous amount of relief in experiencing Reiki. But what's going to happen is you're going to bring that light into those places of trauma where you have stored emotion that you weren't strong enough to deal with before. So you stored it there. You compartmentalized it there, right? The Reiki, in particular, Reiki level 2, usui Reiki level 2, is when we go and deal with that stuff. So it's good to wait a month in between classes, or 21 to 28 days while you're going through your clearing process before you get your next attunement. Although lots of people don't. Lots of people just will take a weekend and let's just bang it out and do Reiki level 1, 2, and 3. It's actually pretty common. I waited a whole year in between Reiki level 1 and Reiki level 2, and then I waited 4 months between Reiki level 2 and Reiki 3 for myself. I was really conscious and very, very aware of my healing process. I had a lot of healing work to do personally, so I also really wanted to digest each step of the way, which has helped me out when I'm teaching classes, because I know what I was capable of. I was doing healings right away. After Reiki level 1, I was doing energy work after Reiki level 2, and I could feel the shift, right? I knew exactly how much more energy I had after I did a Reiki level 2 class. It was amazing how much more light was coming through me. I loved what happened with me after Reiki level 1. It's just more and more and more each time you get an attunement, and I ended up with 7 different branches of Reiki. There's all these different lineages, right? But usui is the first one that came through from Mikhail Usui, and it's the most famous one. And it's the one that's sweeping the nation. It's the one that's talked about on the Dr. Oz show. It's the one that you're going to experience, as a spa modality in a yoga class now. There's Reiki restorative yoga. I used to do Reiki at Burke Williams day spa. So it's wonderful. These things did not used to be, I'm a little bit older than probably some of you, but when I first started doing this was unheard of to have them be that mainstream. And so Reiki is one of those things like massage therapy, yoga, acupuncture that broke free from the mainstream way of doing things. It starts to come in, and it's opening people's minds. And so I have a great deal of respect for how it's been doing that. And since then, I've gone on to study so many other things. Reiki is like training wheels that way. It will shine a light on your special talents and help you to just automatically be magnetically drawn to what you're supposed to be doing, right? So I think it's wonderful, even if you're not planning on doing energy work right away. If you just want to do this for your own personal journey, I highly encourage it. I'm all for it. But Reiki likes to, it likes to be used. So oftentimes, like, let's say you didn't know that you were meant to be a healer, you might be placed in certain situations where you might be tapped on the shoulder by spirit in some way to send Reiki to a situation. One of the first things that happened after I received Reiki level 2 is I went out to coffee with one of the girls in my class. And like literally 5 minutes after we sat down, the police came, locked the doors, told us there was a bank robbery across the street and nobody was to leave the building. And we knew that wasn't an accident, we were there for a reason. So we activated our Reiki in the coffee shop, and we started sending healing to the situation at large. And when we do this, you do this and you honor free will, and we'll go over this when we get to that part of the class, but it's a fun story. And we were sending Reiki to heal the situation, and it felt like we were supposed to do it. There wasn't any resistance. If there were resistance from some of the people, then it would just skip right over them. But this was to calm down everything around it and to help everything go into the light. And just, even the bank robbers probably needed some healing. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't be in such a state where they felt that they needed to rob a bank. The people who were, at gunpoint probably needed a little light to know, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be okay. I feel watched over. So there's a lot of reasons why that can be really positive. Nobody got hurt. It broke up. The police got there right away and we were let out. But it was, for us, it was confirmation that we were being guided, that things, I don't know, we had now connected with a higher energy that was going to strengthen our purpose. And it felt really special to be there and to be able to help and to be able to use Reiki that way. So this is what I'm talking about. The girl that I was with, I think she uses Reiki in her massage practice, and I went on to use Reiki as a teacher and to do more energy work. So anyways, what happens after you receive a Reiki level 2 attunement? You're able to manifest what you need in your life at a faster rate. And the way that works is, let's say I was feeling like I needed to bring in more abundance or more love. Those are the two things that people always ask for in a session. Literally, like almost every single session, it's always about love, money, or health, right? So those are the three major ones that people are always wanting. Sometimes people are wanting spiritual development, or, I mean, everybody kind of wants all four, right? Everybody wants to be spiritually connected, physically healthy, in love, and wealthy, right? But if one of those is not doing well, and there's not enough energy for that part of your life to work out, then you're not going to be able to manifest what you're wanting there. There's always going to be this desire for that part of your life to be abundant and strengthened and there for you. So if something's not showing up in your life, there's an energy blockage, chances are. So you can send Reiki to that energy blockage to bring it up and out of your compartmentalized place into the light, and ask for some divine assistance with that. Clean it with the Reiki light. Allow the Reiki to help you to have some awarenesses around maybe why you're stuck and how to release and let go of some of those emotions, Seihiki, right, that are holding you back. So you'll be able to manifest at a faster rate. And I've seen it instantaneous when we've done this technique that I'm going to teach you to do in your Reiki level 2 class. This is one of my favorite classes to teach. This is one of the reasons is it's just, I've seen some miraculous things happen with these practices. One is I have a sister-in-law who had a stroke, and she's really young. I mean, she's my age. This was, 10 years ago, but right after it happened, I was in a huge classroom full of 30 Reiki practitioners, and they were asking, do you know anybody who would like some Reiki? And I got her permission, and she said yes. So we all sent Reiki to this one intention that we had written down on a piece of paper. We had drawn the Reiki symbols onto the page, and we were sending, 30 of us were sending Reiki to her intention, which was to heal and to be able to use, I think it's her right arm. And we did this, and after we did this, she regained 30% use in her arm from one distance session from all of us, which I think is huge. I was pretty impressed by it. I also gave her a Reiki charge bracelet, which she still has. I just saw her recently. It was so sweet. She had it on, and it melted my heart that she's had it this whole time. It's been a really long time. So special, really special technique, really easy to do. Simple but powerful. So your Reiki healing will flow at a stronger and higher vibration. Yes, 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 absolutely. You have more energy to work with. You'll be able to call on specific types of energy. So Choku-rei, it means bring energy here to fix, to correct, to mend, and we'll talk about that more deeply. But this is really great for, like, I had a friend who fell down when we went roller skating together, and I did, Choku-rei on her knee, sent her Reiki for maybe 3 minutes, and the pain was gone kind of amazing, right? So she could get up and start skating again. She didn't have to go home. Again, Seihiki is for, you know, the soft, loving, let me get a hug from the universe and let me feel my feelings. Which, hey, we could all use a hug from the universe sometimes, right? So Reiki does that for you. And then this one goes backwards and forwards through time. This is Honshazation, and this can send healing through the veil. I've lost many people, and it can be very common if you're a medium and you're meant to do ancestral karmic cleansing or do work with loved ones on the other side of the veil. Sometimes it's actually easier for that to happen if you're the healer in the family when they're in spirit form to do that, if you can hear them and you can send light to them. And I've done this for years and years and years, and it's been miraculous. I've had incredible results on both my mother's side of the family, my dad's side of the family, my married family that I've married into with this symbol. And I've had the beings come in, you know, my loved ones in spirit come in and receive the light, and I've even Reiki attuned them at a master level to be able to send Reiki back to the situation from up there. Fascinating stuff. I've sent this to me in the past. I've sent this to me in past lifetimes. I've sent this to me as a child, and I can remember receiving it as a child. I can remember feeling these huge waves of light washing over me and just being so relieved and not knowing where it came from. I mean, I would just be praying, asking for help, and I would receive it very strongly. And it wasn't until I became an adult and I was actually remembering sending it to, like, realizing that I was having anxiety and I wanted to know where the anxiety was coming from. So I would send Reiki to myself where I was feeling it in my body as a blockage. And I would have these memories of these certain ages where I remembered receiving light. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was me receiving the Reiki from what I'm about to do now. And I would do that. I would connect, of course, to my higher power, calling in the light and sending Reiki. So it is both. I mean, it was an answered prayer. I'm receiving this very spiritual, divine guidance to do this, but I get to be the person who is allowing the light to move through me and through time. I've been able to send it to my aunt who lives in Hawaii, and I'm in California, and she totally felt it. She was the recipient for many of my students for a really long time. Whenever it was time for them to practice their distance healing and have a picture of her, she would receive it, and then we would text back and forth afterwards, and she felt it every single time and had powerful dreams. A lot of comfort. Sometimes she would have visitations from, you know, different angelic beings or divine feminine archetypes like Kuan Yin. So it seriously works. It's really something else. It's very magical. So another thing that's going to happen is you're gonna know how to use these symbols. I'm going to teach you how to draw them, how to use them, what they do. Oh yeah, you're probably going to become more in tune spiritually in some way. So some of us are feelers. We are really good at feeling energy. That was definitely me. I was doing massage. I could read energy with my hands. I also didn't like it very much. I kind of hated it, to be honest. I mean, it was a gift. I literally knew exactly where the pain was. I was very gifted at being able to find what was going on with the person and know what to do, but it was just hard to feel all that stuff myself. I didn't like it. So I started learning that if I was just constantly, and this is what you call being an empath, it's also clairsentient, I've heard it called, clear feeling. So I would start asking Spirit, okay, can I turn the volume up on clear seeing, clear hearing, which is clairvoyance, clairaudience, clear knowing, which is claircognizance, and turn the volume down on clear sentience. I don't want to feel that person's pain in my body. Not so much. I don't mind just having, you know, my vibes, being able to read energy, but can we just not have it be full blast in my face all the time? It was just too much. It was overwhelming. So yes, the answer was yes. I started actually seeing, oh, right shoulder, da da da, go right here. I started actually hearing what was going on with that person. I didn't even have to touch them anymore, and I could tell what was going on. It was a miracle for me, honestly. a lot of my spiritual abilities just exploded after my Reiki attunements personally. For other people, that wasn't what it was for them. It was something else completely, where they suddenly had enough energy to go after their dreams. Like one woman, I gave her Reiki, and she had been alone for like 10 years. She had not been in a relationship. She had a lot of cats. She was very successful at work, but that was it, you know. She liked to eat too. She was a little bit heavier, but a beautiful soul. I loved her very much. I used to see her once a week for like 5 years, and then I started teaching Reiki, and she agreed to take a class, and she immediately like just felt inspired naturally. Not a word, not a peep out of me about this, but she decided on her own after receiving Reiki to go on a singles cruise, to get her hair done, to go sign up for an exercise class. I mean, she had this new lease on life, and I just sat back, was just very, you know, awestruck by what Reiki was doing in this woman. I let her take full credit because she had to do the work, but the Reiki just gave her a little push in the right direction, and it will do that. Lots of stories I can tell you, but we'll just stop there. You'll have your own story. I just want you to know how different they can be. You know, for my husband, he received Reiki, and then it wasn't something that he picked up really strongly and started using on a regular basis until 5 years later. So that's another interesting story for me to have witnessed that. I know it helped him. He just wanted to rediscover it on his own. You know how it is when you know someone and they like want you to have something, but you want to discover things on your own. So like when I left him alone and I stopped like telling him how amazing Reiki was, and he decided that he wanted to pick it up by himself, it started happening when he started doing yoga, and he was in Shavasana, and he would lay there and the Reiki would just start flowing, and he was having his own relationship with it. Did it really start to transform him from the inside out? And then he ended up teaching classes with me and doing sound. We do sound healings together now. So it just had to wait until the right moment, and you're going to always have access to the Reiki. It will be there when you need it. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go over how to draw the symbols. Okay, so we're on page 8. If you're following along in section 2, we're on page 8. Whew. Okay, so whenever you draw the Reiki symbols, you will begin doing these things. You will draw a symbol in a variety of different ways, imagining that the symbol is being traced out in violet, the color most commonly associated with Reiki energy. You can, I don't always, but I love working with the violet light. I work with it a lot. When we're doing Reiki attunements in level 3, you'll feel the Reiki go into your breath, and we call it the violet breath. And then you'll blow that Reiki energy into the person, or that's what I'm going to do when you call and get your Reiki attunement from me. And it just feels really wonderful. I see visualizations of violet light going into healings and clearing spaces, and it's really magical. So you're going to say the symbol's name to yourself 3 times as a mantra or out loud. So in the instance of this one, this is the most popular one, it would be Choku-rei, Choku-rei, Choku-rei after you draw it. So you're going to also tap the symbol that you have drawn with your hand and fingers. So I'll show you how that looks. So I'm going to trace the paper, but I would really be doing it like this. Okay, so it's, and then tap. Choku-rei, Choku-rei, Choku-rei. So I'll show you this way. Tap. Choku-rei, Choku-rei, Choku-rei. You also want to, I don't know if you noticed, I lifted my arms like that because you don't want to be like rigid. So you want to visualize like you have eggs under your armpits, you're loose in your joints, like you don't want to be really stuffy about it. You want to be relaxed and like I'm leaning up against a pillow, because you need to be in the flow. If you're relaxed and you're comfortable, it's a lot easier for your vibration to be higher. It's going to take some nice long cleansing breaths. chokure, chokure, chokure. And then you're going to just let it really flow. So you can do it right over the area, or you can do it right over your hands. And I think the description says that you should bring your fingers together like you're going to draw with a pen. And I actually can feel it stronger when I do that, but it works both ways. But try it out for yourself. This Reiki is coming through my fingers. So it feels, I can actually feel that on my palm when I do that. It's wild. You can do it on both sides. And then send. Chokure, chokure, chokure. So nice. I don't even want to stop when I do that. Okay. Okay, if your hands, like if you can't do that with your hands, you can actually send Reiki with your eyes. You can send Reiki with your heart, with your intention. So this is kind of funny. They said like grow your nose like Pinocchio. Like let's say your hand, like when I was a massage therapist, I could not take my hands off of the body because I was working on somebody. That would be distracting. It would take away from the experience. So I would have to use my attention a lot. So you can use your nose to draw the symbol and then think it 3 times, because if that person is in meditation and you all of a sudden just start chanting chokure, 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 they're gonna go, what does that mean? What are you doing? They won't understand, right? So I always had permission because the name of my business was The Holistic Mystic, and it was very clear that I was doing Reiki in my sessions. If somebody was looking for more of a sports massage, I would refer them to somebody else, because I was not able after a while to not let Reiki flow. It was literally not possible. If my hands were on a person, the Reiki was flowing. So if somebody did not want Reiki, they should not come to me. You know, so you don't want to just randomly send it to people. Like, I have a client or a student who's a hairdresser, and you know, she calls Reiki into her space, and people love to be around her because she feels so good. And she can talk about it, you know, would you like a little bit of Reiki after your hair? And she does that, but she needs to have a dialogue about that, or at least need to be able to tune in and know that that person is asking you on a higher self level. So for those of you who are very, very psychic and can see that person's higher self clearly coming in and asking for assistance, and that does happen. I've had that happen with people where I've gone to visit them and this person had a brain tumor, and I knew that that's why I was there. I didn't, when I first walked in, of course, like I just thought I was at a family reunion and I was just there supporting a friend, you know, seeing that side of the family, and then all of a sudden this light just started flooding out of me, and I'm like, what in the heck is going on? And I'd start hearing this message of like, okay, this person needs this, and their higher self would be hovering, letting me know that it was okay. And so I would just say, oh, okay. And I would just stay there and allow this light to flood the room, and it felt really wonderful. And I know that that person needed it, and it wasn't draining for me at all. Like in that case, it's okay, you know. But if I had an agenda, and like, let's say my friend was always complaining, this is hypothetical, about their family and wanted me to come and do Reiki on them, that's a complete agenda. That's a totally different situation where like I would be there doing this without permission. It's just different. It doesn't have the same free will that you want when you're doing Reiki to keep your practice and your karma clean. But as a massage therapist, I couldn't lift my hands off, so I would have to do it quietly or allow it to just move through my eyes and think in my head, chokure, chokure, chokure. And sometimes I would just very softly move my hands like that over an area, chokure, chokure, chokure. And it was awesome. I would feel, you know, that part of their body just melt the blockage away, and it would make the massage deep. It would go all the way penetrating through their entire joint without having to use pressure. I could use energy to soften it and move things out. And I started to realize, oh my gosh, like I don't even have to palpate. Like I can actually just move the energy out. And that's when I stopped. After a while, I started to realize that energy work was even more efficient than massage therapy. And I just switched what I did. I had a very successful massage practice for 10 years. Like to this day, people still call me sometimes asking me if I'll still do that, but I just don't. I'm too much of an energy healer now. Anyways, it does come out of your eyes. Okay, so if I'm at a car, if I'm in my car and I'm just zoning out at a stoplight and I look over and I don't even realize I'm looking at somebody, they're gonna feel me looking in that direction because the Reiki is coming out of my eyes. And I've had to become aware that there was a lot more energy flowing through me, and there's something that can happen. This may already be happening to some of you who have a lot of psychic power. We have something, I've heard it being called being kinetic, where it can actually, malfunction mechanics. When I go to the grocery store, sometimes the machines won't work. Like when they're trying to ring me up, they'll just go, I don't know what's wrong. Hold on, my machine, my computer's frozen, my register is not working. And then I know, oh, and what you do if this happens is you just visualize your aura getting close to your body and grounding yourself. And you can even step back, and I'll step back like 2 steps, and then all of a sudden it would start working again. And it would happen if I was having very strong thoughts or very strong emotions, or like, let's say I'm going through something that day and I'm processing my own stuff, and I go to the store is when the energy is wonky. So I've had to be conscious of, wow, I mean, it's magnifying my state of mind, right? So now I'm conscious of the energy that I bring. And if I'm processing, I stay home and I process and I take a salt bath and I do my self Reiki and I do my journaling and I do all the different practices that I do. And then I go out into the world and I call in the light and I bring that with me wherever I go. Or I just know how to contain what's going on with me without just letting it just open up into a room, if that makes any sense. I have this other friend who's never even taken Reiki before, and she thinks this is hilarious. She's a very strong personality and she's very kinetic and just really used to joke around about it, but it's not funny. I actually had to train her that, you're just a powerful being, whether you've had training or not, and I'm just going to help you with that. And now, she manages just fine because she started to take it seriously. Yeah, so Reiki comes out of your eyes, Reiki comes out of your heart. It's beautiful when it comes out of your heart. It's so nice to just stand there when someone's sharing with you and be able to hold the light, because that is sometimes really powerful. Let's say you're not somebody who gets psychic messages for people. Just being able to stand there and let them share and process something is enormously helpful. It is a wonderful gift, and people will love that about you. You may not want everyone to share everything with you all of the time, but if you are somebody who people do want to tell you their entire life story, if you hear on a regular basis, I don't know why I'm telling you this, I've never told anybody this before, which is, it's hilarious to those of us who hear that almost every day. This is why I do this for a living now, is because I would hear it so often. I finally had to create office hours and say, okay, listen, here's my card. We can do this in a session. And anyways, when I did not have Reiki and when I did not know how to heal myself, and my empath ability was just very raw and I didn't know how to hold space, it was draining for me to do that for people. But now that I can call on this abundant, radiant, peaceful, loving, benevolent energy that's ever present, and I can recharge myself when I go home, it's fine. It's totally fine. My neighbor pulled me over the other day and had a lot to say, and I was able to let him process that with me and just release and go and continue with my errands. Okay, so these are the things that are going to happen after you receive your Reiki level 2 attunement. Okay, you're also going to be processing through your emotional body. This is probably the biggest thing that's going to happen for you. Okay, whatever you have damaged or stored in your emotional layer of your aura is going to start to allow this light to go through it. The light's going to go through and clean it. It's going to bring it to the surface. It's going to give you this opportunity to, this is your time to clear this. It's going to happen. You'll probably cry more. You may or may not need to get some healing sessions, some therapy, whatever it is. Some people just work out and they release it physically, but you know, you're going to want to have a way to release some of this, and it's going to feel amazing when you do, because that is going to come out of your system, and you're going to realize that you no longer have these hang-ups and these triggers. They're going to dissipate once you face it and release it and embrace it and allow it to clear for you using the Reiki. That's going to soften it. It's going to dissolve it. It's going to unveil it for you. It's going to lift it up. It's going to help you to know more about what was going on with you then. The Reiki has its own intelligence, and it's going to bring this really beautiful, intuitive guidance with it, where you'll just have a new outlook or perspective to where you can actually understand and maybe let go. Sometimes if you really don't understand what happened, there's no way for you to move on until you really have some answers, you know? So getting a reading is a great way to get some insight if you are having situations like that. I do private readings, and you can sign up online at theholisticmystic.com. But the Reiki itself will help you to have your own intuitive awarenesses when you're calling it in and using it for yourself. So you want to pay attention to the things that are coming up for you in your mind's eye, in your awareness, in your memories. It's not really random. They're coming in because the energy is showing you something, and you want to be able to be, oh, what is that? Oh yeah, I remember that happening. Keep sending the light to it. And if you have some, like, if you suddenly start to feel your anger or feel your fear, that's okay. You know, let that come up. Let that come up into the light, and you can cry or ask. This is when you want to start to ask your higher self, ask the Reiki, ask your spirit guides, you know, for some insight or for some answers, you know, the why, where, what, when, and how kind of questions. They don't so much like when, because a lot of this is up to you. It's not like a lot of this stuff is predetermined. A lot of this stuff is when you heal whatever it is that this part of your life is going to open up. If you lock down on something and don't heal it, and you just ask, when is this going to be healed? Spirit's going to look at you like, when you heal it, you know what I mean? But we'll help you. So drawing it, I've given you several different ways to draw it. And in the booklet on page 9, it says, don't run before you can walk, because like, if you've been doing Reiki for 10 plus years and you've drawn it and taught it a whole bunch of times, eventually you don't really necessarily need to do it exactly perfectly like this, and then tap, and then say it out loud 3 times. You can probably just call it and visualize it going into that area, which I can, but I also know that when I do this, it is stronger, even now. But it can also, you know, be more subtle, and there's different ways that you can call it in. So they don't want you to just skip over to, oh, I don't have to draw them. Yeah, draw them. Do the whole thing. So the symbols are a tool. And the way that I like to describe them is, if you are learning to play music, I come from a long line of musicians, and you want to play a melody, there are lots of notes that you're going to play and create a song. Reiki symbols are like the different notes and a melody. The more Reiki symbols you have, and I have hundreds, then the more melodies that you can play. The more ways that people are going to be able to heal and come to you are going to find their way to you, because of all of the different remedies, energetic energy signals you are able to send them and tap into and tune into. So if somebody needs mental healing, or they need to send energy into the past, then you're going to use Honshaze Shonen. Or if they need to heal a situation with their karma, with a loved one who has crossed over into the light, you can send Reiki to both of those people. I do a lot of shamanic healing, so often people's family members in spirit will come in for the healings, because it's meant to be for both of them. And the Reiki with Honshaze Shonen can go to that family member in spirit, And it's really soothing for the person on the table to experience that family member who they miss so much being there. They can like, oh my God, I can feel them. I'm seeing them just like open their hearts and cry in like unbelievable love coming from their ancestors in the room with them. It's beautiful, right? So if you didn't, like if let's say you stayed at Reiki level 1, you didn't have these symbols, those people wouldn't necessarily be as drawn to you because you wouldn't necessarily have that signal that you could send out to the universe of, yes, let's do this. They all do something different. Okay, so Chokurei is on page 10. So here, maybe we can do it like this. All right, so the first symbol is called the power symbol, or the Chokurei. This symbol is sometimes nicknamed the light switch, as it connects us to the energy, like a light switch being turned on. It is thought to turn up the energy and opens us as channels of the Reiki energy. The Chokurei symbol can help start the Reiki flowing, and most practitioners use it at the beginning of sessions by drawing it on the palm of the hands. It can help overcome negative resistance patterns. Using it on an area can help to reduce pain. It is also used in space clearing, so draw it on objects in your environment, intending that they be cleansed and operate for your highest good. Draw it on objects and send Reiki into them to empower them with Reiki. The Chokurei has as many uses as you can think of. So you can use the Chokurei at the start of a healing session to feel the energetic connection to the Reiki source, and you can use it to focus power at each hand position and on any problem areas. So draw it over the person at the end of a healing session to seal in the energies. And I love doing that. I do that all the time. As many modalities as I do now, this one has always stuck with me. At the very end of whatever it is, I seal it in Chokurei, Chokurei, Chokurei. Chokurei is just, it's seriously like to protect it. I've drawn it on my car when I've been in LA and parked somewhere where it was kind of a sketchy neighborhood. I've drawn it on my luggage when I wanted to make sure that it was protected and then it found its way back to me. I've drawn it over, my pet's little kennel because I was really silly thinking I could train my Chihuahua to sleep in a kennel. Like, that's hilarious. But when I was trying to do that, I would calm him down with putting what's called a Reiki shower over his kennel, where I would draw all the Reiki symbols and I would send an intention that the Reiki will continue to flow for as long as it's needed. That's called a Reiki shower. So boom, I just taught you that. He totally sleeps in the bed with me now, the dog, because he wasn't having it, but it would calm him down for a little while. All right, so it's really great for protection. You can draw it on your bath, like when you're gonna do a cleansing bath with sea salt or aromatherapy or light a candle. You can like Reiki charge your bath water and get in, and it feels, water's healing anyways, but when you Reiki charge it, it's so yummy. You can draw it over food. When you hear about things being made with love, being able to charge them with Reiki energy is wonderful. I know a lot of artists, a lot of jewelry makers that charge all of their goodies with Reiki. And okay, so to clear a room, you just do what we did in the beginning of our film today. You want to draw Chokurei in the four corners, Chokurei, Chokurei, Chokurei on the four walls, Chokurei, 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 Chokurei behind you, Chokurei, 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 ceiling and floor, Chokurei, 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 and then one big one out in front of you, Chokurei, Chokurei, Chokurei. And then it just means bring energy here. It opens up this beautiful vortex calling in the light, so just allow yourself to feel that for a moment. Feels like this beautiful waft of clean, fresh Reiki light coming into the space. It really does feel like a light switch just went on. I love it. I love it. So it's really hard not to love that one. It's a really easy one. If you're somebody who's gonna do a little bit of Reiki at the end of your yoga class, I do teach Reiki to yoga teachers frequently. I can't even tell you how many. It's such a beautiful addition to a yoga practice if you've ever experienced it. A Reiki Shavasana, oh yeah, it's the best. Where you're just lying back after working out and receiving all of that beautiful light. Choku Rei it's gonna bring them into the state of purity and light and closure. It's not necessarily gonna bring something up for the person, where this one will, which sometimes you do really need to bring something up. And if you don't, it's just gonna stay in there and fester. I mean, you can put a Band-Aid over a splinter and it's gonna get infected. Eventually you're gonna have to dig it out, you know, and that's what this one does. So it says, Seihiki. All right, so let me just move this out of the way so I don't light myself on fire. That would be bad. But I kind of like this. We'll do it this way. So the second symbol, let's see if you can still see it, is called Seihiki. It is pronounced Sei-Hei-Ki. This symbol is known as the mental emotional symbol, but also as the harmony symbol. It is used to heal mental and emotional habits that no longer work for you, and emotional and mental distress. It is also used to bring up and heal emotional issues underneath physical problems. It helps reinforce and support positive behavior changes. It is also used to help release negative conditioning from past experiences by changing, reacting to responding. All right. Seihiki can also be used as part of an emotional meditation to help to release and heal these conditionings and patterns that underlying problems. It's also really great at healing phobias or addictions. Let's see, what else have I used it for? To me, I'm just going to talk. I'm reading the pamphlet to see if I agree with any of this stuff, which I do. So again, we're on page 13, but I'm just going to talk freely about Seihiki. To me, it feels like the divine feminine. It feels like sacred mother. It feels soft and like rose petals. It feels like a wedding. It makes you cry, but in that really wonderful way where you feel like there's something here that you really need and that you've always been looking for, kind of tears. It is, again, it's the hug from the universe, right? So it's this, so yummy, but it will make you cry. It can go really deep, because when you feel safe, you can go pretty deep into your pain because it's safe to go there now. And so we all want to feel safe. We all need that kind of love. And if you can start to use it, eventually you'll become more like that for your friends, your family, your clients. You'll be more that way. The more you use this, you'll start to match that vibration personally. It's like becoming a walking piece of rose quartz, right? Okay. All right. Okay, so sometimes it's fun to do positive affirmations. You are calm, content, and serene. You are loved and secure. You feel loved and lovable. You feel safe. You are safe. You are in sacred space. I'm aligning with the highest frequency. You are wellness and power incarnate. You are watching any issues just melt off of your body. You are dissolving the conscious construct of any harm. You're allowing the frequency of love to pour in. And this is, again, really handy with some of the affirmations that are in this book. So those are just me just saying what Spirit was guiding me to say in the moment. But here, I just tuned into one. I forgive everyone. I forgive myself. I nourish myself. I give myself the gift of forgiveness, and we are both free. I let life flow through me. I am willing to live. All is well. You know, it's just on and on. These things are so, when you can open a wound, allow yourself to feel your feelings, and then say one of those affirmations, it can really revolutionize this person's intention, direction of where they were headed, and, you know, fast track them towards a better life. So it is very meditative, but I've had people who are hypnotherapists come to my table, and when I'm channeling in some of this, to them, this is actually stronger than hypnotherapy. When you're working with energy and you're bringing in this spiritual wisdom and you're calling it in, it really just like weaves that intention and that light into their system, and it sticks around. It goes deep. It's really something. So, all right. Hon Shaze Shonen. This is the hard one to say, and you'll see them written in lots of different ways. One of the reasons, I don't know if you can see what's different between this one and this one. They're similar, but like you can see where this line on this paper is, there's more of a space in between, because when they first started to teach people Reiki, like I said, they did not allow things to stay in print. So they would draw it, you would memorize it, and then they would take the symbol and they would burn it. Done. And then, you know, if you wanted to teach it, you had to keep it memorized from when you learned it in class, and then do the same thing with your student. And over long periods of time, it's just shifted a little bit, little increments, and you'll see it. Now that we do have things in print, oh wow, it kind of looks different when that person drew it than when that person drew it. Just like when you play telephone, that old game telephone where you're whispering into a person's ear one thing, and then you go all the way, that person will whisper into somebody else's ear, and then they go all the way down through the line of people. By the time it comes back around, it's two different things or slightly different. That's the game of telephone. It's very similar with how the Reiki symbols have changed over time, but it's okay. It's totally fine. I was taught and I've experienced firsthand, and my students have experienced, and you ask any Reiki master or anybody who's experienced Reiki, that the Reiki still works even if you don't draw everything exactly perfectly. That spirit understands what your intention is, right? So distance healing with Hon Sha Ze Sho Nen. Hon Sha Ze Sho Nen. These are Japanese words. I didn't tell you how to draw a seihiki. We have to go back for a second. Sorry about that. I'm having fun telling these stories. This is how you draw it. You start here. So, let's see. Here's another one. You're just tracing it with your finger. Seihiki, seihiki, seihiki. And this will look a little bit different than this one. Like this one's got more of an angle than this one does. I drew this one myself. To me, it almost looks like a profile with the back of the head and then two ears. And that's how I remember it. Seihiki, seihiki, seihiki. So Seihiki, I was doing light language singing with it, which is different than Reiki, but that's how I do healings now. Okay, we're gonna go on to Hon Sha Ze Shonen. We're on page 15. So distance healing, absentee or distance healing is another aspect of Reiki level 2. There are as many ways to do distance healing as there are healers. Reiki is unique in healing systems because it does not use the healer's energy. And the symbols are a unique connection to the source of all. The Reiki distance healing symbol is called the Honshaze Shonen. This symbol enables us to send healing energies to others at a distance wherever they may be. It can be used when doing hands-on Reiki healing. And it would be, because it would be inappropriate. You can do it hands-free, like if there was a burnt patient or somebody who had sexual abuse issues, it would be more appropriate for you to do hands-off for them. So in these cases, Reiki can be sent distantly from across the room. Such line of sight uses the distance symbol are called beaming. So beaming, I remember the first time I experienced it, I was taking my herbal training as a holistic health practitioner, and one of the women who had studied Reiki with me knew that I was having a stressful day trying to take a test, and I was nervous about taking the test, and so she drew all three Reiki symbols. So Chokure, 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 Seihiki, 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 Honshaze Shonen, Honshaze Shonen, Honshaze Shonen, and she just envisioned a beam of light from where she was sitting all the way across the room towards me, and I just all of a sudden had enough energy, and I felt more confident to be able to take my test. And afterwards I was just in this really good mood, and she says, she's like, so how do you feel? And she was all excited, and I told her, and she goes, yay, I've been Reiki beaming you from across the room. And I got so, it made me want to cry because it totally worked. And you can beam somebody and treat the whole outer layer of their aura when they come in for a session. So you would stand all the way back and you would beam them while they're on the table, and then slowly start to go deeper into the aura. So that's beaming. So one possible meaning of Honshaze Shonen is no past, no present, no future. No past, no present, no future. As a clairvoyant, it's very natural for me to realize that time doesn't exist in the higher dimensions. So Reiki is a higher frequency. When you go into the higher dimensions, it's a lot easier to send energy backwards and forwards through time, and it's circular. Like, you pull up into your higher self-consciousness, and when you're looking at an issue, like let's say you have a trauma that you're experiencing, you can suddenly start to see when it started, and it may not have started in this lifetime. It may have started in a past lifetime. And when you're sending Reiki, you might see this person with the same issue, but in a completely different skin suit, or as a different person, but the same soul. And you might see it like a movie in your head. This is very common for me. You might actually see it in their childhood. You might see it in different family members, but you'll see this pattern. And what's consistent is how it's affecting them in the here and now. So if you tell somebody that you see a vision of them in a past lifetime doing X, Y, and Z, that might not mean anything to them. But if you talk to them about having trust issues, or something that they can relate to, that they're still healing in this life, and tell them that it's maybe coming from a past lifetime and this is what you're seeing, that will make more sense to them. And then what you can do is you can send, with Honshaze Shonen, energy to the root of the problem, where it started, and that will start to send this awareness and this light and this assistance all the way through their timeline into the here and now, which makes it a lot easier for them to shift. It's really powerful. So there's that. And you can also send it to the future. So like, let's say I know that I have a big road trip coming and I'm nervous. Let's say I'm moving cross country and I'm going to have this giant U-Haul, and I have anxiety about how that's going to go, and I want to make sure that, you know, we drive safely, that I clear a path for a successful mission. I can actually send Reiki to that day. I can visualize that date, and I can draw Honshaze Shonen, and I can sit there and really envision Reiki just making it very safe, clearing a path, feeling guided, having an inspirational road trip. You know, those good road trips where there's good tunes playing on the stereo and you are really, really tuned in and one with the road and really feeling the magic of that experience. It can be that kind of a road trip. So you can do that. All right. It's really great when you're doing an emotional healing symbol to do some type of meditation. It's not required. Oftentimes if you're just sending the Reiki, that person can be having their own experience without any guidance from you. But if you do have that in your toolkit, or if this is something that you would like to acquire in your toolkit, it is such a beautiful thing to take somebody through a guided meditation while sending them Reiki. It makes it a lot easier for them to deal with what you call the monkey mind, where their mind is thinking about what they need to do later that week or that day, or all the things that happen when you're trying to fall asleep and you can't, when your mind is spinning. Funny thing about that is when your heart is not open, your head spins. So when you drop into your heart space, or when you use Reiki, it's going to help them to let go of the thinking, the incessant thinking that's blocking them from opening their crown chakra and having a spiritual experience. So on page 17, there is a beautiful guided meditation that you can read, and you can screenshot that if you need to. But you will get a copy of this book when you sign up for your Reiki attunement, and it's there. All right, so when you're going to do a picture healing for somebody, the way I do it is I let them know what time I'm going to start the session, and it's an appointment, and we set an appointment, and it's called a remote healing or a long distance healing or just distance Reiki. And what I do is I take a photograph of them. Let's say I want to send Reiki to the world. This is my photograph. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place some healing objects around this, like a few crystals around this. And I'm also going to have the symbols around it. And if I don't have, these, I can draw them on a piece of paper. And I'm going to lay this down in front of me. And I'm making this beautiful decorative ceremonial sacred space for the Reiki session. That did not work. Okay. So there it is there. All right, so I want to send healing to what is going on in the world. If something is happening on the news, if something is going on worldwide that's got everybody concerned, and you just want to do something about it and you don't know what to do, you can actually send Reiki to a situation. So I always set the intention, you are free to accept or reject this energy. And that is my Get Out of Karma free card. I don't force Reiki on anybody, but this is just an opportunity for them to experience light and to connect to their own spirituality, their own connection to source, wisdom and power and alignment. And I'm going to draw the symbols. Chokure, chokure, chokure. Seihiki, seihiki, seihiki. Honshaze shonen, honshaze shonen, honshaze shonen. Closing my eyes, and I'm just getting confident and comfortable and I'm staying in non-attachment. So if I am somebody who is very psychic and can see where the energy is needed, I still have to just be emotionally detached with love. I'm trusting the Reiki to give the exact right amount that that person might need or that the situation might need. I'm visualizing harmonious outcomes for all, the highest good for all concerned. If I feel extreme resistance, I allow the Reiki to do what it's supposed to do. I don't force. I'm watching and visualizing this beautiful violet ray moving through, this white light moving through, surrounding the globe. I'm envisioning love, wellness, peace. I'm visualizing the natural bodies of water clearing, like the oceans, cleaning the oceans, the rivers, the lakes. I'm visualizing a safe place for all life everywhere. And I'm doing this without an agenda. So let's say I have a very strong political agenda. I'm not going to do this in a way that is going to further my cause, even if I think that my cause is right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send Reiki to balance out whatever is imbalanced. And I'm going to trust that if I'm sending it to this cause, that it's going to balance whatever is imbalanced. Not necessarily what I think is imbalanced, but whatever is in the highest good for all concerned. So I've done Reiki shares where there were many people in the room that had conflicting or opposing views, and we were able to come together in this way because, again, Reiki is not associated with any sect, denomination, or religion. It is purely healing light, universal life force energy. We can all come together under this common umbrella with the same theme, that we can all agree that there is something going on in the news, and you might think that this needs to happen, and I might think that this needs to happen, but what we're going to do is we're just going to send Reiki to the situation, and we both agree that we love, honor, and respect healing light, and that we're going to allow this universal life force energy to resolve the issue without our human egos getting in the way. And that's not always easy to do. It became increasingly challenging when 2020 hit. I taught a lot of Reiki during 2020 where there was, I'm sure everybody in the whole world knows what was going on during that time. And everybody really, really needed Reiki. I taught so many classes. In fact, that's why I have this video now, is so that I can have it available for people that need it when they need it, because I can't teach this every single day. But I was having people asking me literally almost every single day during 2020 for Reiki, and so I'm really, really relieved that we get to have this support. So this is what we're doing. This can go anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour. You can do this every day for 5 minutes to a world cause. You can do this for like a friend that isn't doing well, or a family member who's in the hospital, or a loved one who's deployed, or a loved one on their day of surgery, whatever it is. But you just want to always just make sure that you're not forcing it on them, saying your clause, this or better or whatever's in the highest good. I turn this over to the Reiki light to be, healed, and we're calling in the highest good of all concerned. You are free to accept or reject this energy, and you just send it for as long as you want. And it is so comforting to know that we can do this. I've sent this to the Ebola crisis. I've sent this to Standing Rock when the Native Americans were, protesting against the government for building a pipeline. They needed their one water source. This is very causey. So again, like, this is me taking a side, thinking, hey, let's just give the Native Americans back their water. But I had to let go and turn this over to a higher power and just send Reiki to the situation. This or better or whatever's in the highest good of all concerned, right? But a lot of people were upset during that time, and so we were sending this energy to heal both parties, both sides of the coin. Some people were saying, you know, hey, we need the jobs, yada, yada, yada. And these people were saying, this is our water. You know, there were all these arguments, but we were just highest good of all concerned, sending Reiki to it. Beautiful, beautiful work. I'm not saying that, you know, you personally aren't allowed to have your opinions. You are, but we just, when we're sending this, we want our intention to be clean. Reiki is about letting go and having no attachment. When we get involved with our egos and we get attached to things, the energy doesn't run as clean. You know, when we can let go, we can be a clear channel and really let the energy flow. The Reiki actually does a better job. It doesn't need us to necessarily tell it that it needs to do this or that. It has its own universal intelligence, which is wonderful. And it doesn't ever do any harm to anybody. You can't curse anybody with it. You can't hurt anybody with it, but human intentions can. So, like, let's say you're a human being and you want to hurt a politician, God forbid. You want to hurt a politician because you think that they're evil or wrong or something. This is the type of thing that we don't do in Reiki. Like, this is not at all what we're teaching. What we are teaching here is highest good of all concerned. Okay, so we're gonna go over how to do Reiki boxes, Reiki triangles. The only difference would be a box or a triangle. And this is a way to manifest using Reiki. And what we're talking about here is we were just sending healing towards world peace, right? So using the picture method, using this method for world peace, we would write up at the top here what our desired outcome would be. You know, everybody to have food, everybody to live in peace and harmony with one another, for there to be, you know, enough food to go around, for there to be, you know, enough health and wellness to go around, for everybody to have their own, you know, place to live, for people to get along with each other, for people to share, for everybody to have their own jobs to do, for people to be respectful, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? For everybody to experience their own divine connection, to be connected to their higher selves, and for everybody to be looking out for one another, right? So whatever is a perfect world for you, is what you would put up there. Now, this is what you're praying for. You know, we're all praying for or sending Reiki to a situation, and we all have something that we need help with, and we can write what it is that we think would be a good outcome. Now, you know, let's say that that's not the divine design, that there are reasons why things are the way that they are. So what you would want to put up at the top is this or better, or whatever would be in the highest good for all concerned. Meaning, I'm going to step out of the way. I'm not going to push my intention or agenda onto another person's free will. But what I am wanting to do is heal and bring healing into the world, and to bring more light into this situation where I feel there's a lack and there is need of transformation. And if you're called to Reiki and you're you know, chances are there's something that you want to heal. There's a reason. It's okay to have those reasons. There are lots of things that need healing in the world. What we're talking about, though, is being non-attached to the results. So when we get attached and we have our own personal agenda, and we really want to force healing on somebody who, it's not necessarily their right time to heal that. Maybe they're still learning a lesson, and that lesson isn't finished yet. It's not up to us to take away that person's lesson that's going to lead towards their own spiritual or soul evolution. So that's why we don't want to take away something before it's the right time. But we can send healing towards it. We can assist them and encourage them to continue on to the next step, because sometimes people get stuck and they're not growing. And the point is, in the Earth School, to continuously evolve and grow. So your desired outcome is up there. Over here is the situation at hand, you know. There's places where people don't have enough to eat. There's places where People are being treated unfairly, to say the least. There are all kinds of situations that we could say, right? Pollution. So you want to write these things down. Over here, you want to write, whatever it is that is being affected by this situation. So it's hard to list these things and stay general, but you want to list the people involved, the institutions involved, whatever it is that you think you want to shift, right? So we are going to put our get out of karma free clause up at the top and really hold that in our hearts. This or better, or whatever's in the highest good of all concerned, you are free to accept or reject this energy. That means I'm going to call in light to this situation. If you like it, great, it's there for you. If you don't, it's like a tray of hors d'oeuvres that you get to say yes or no to. Now, I'm not taking this hors d'oeuvres and saying, no, here, try it. You really are going to really, really like this. You need to eat this. It's going to make you feel better. That person might not really want that flavor. That flavor might be really good for me, but that person wants a different flavor. So I'm not going to force that on them. We don't do that with Reiki, but we do have it there. And we work with divine timing and when a person is drawn to it naturally, right? So that's a better way, is to allow what is meant for you to come to you. And we're just here to hold the light, is what we're doing, to call in the light and ask for it when we feel that it's needed. So in the middle, you're going to draw Chokure, 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 Honcha Zeishinen, Honcha Zeishinen, Honcha Zeishinen, Seihiki, Seihiki, Seihiki with a pen. And you're going to have this. You're going to take this and you can fold it up and you can have it in your hands and you can send Reiki to that situation. So you'll then go into a meditation with yourself. Take some nice cleansing breaths, relax, and allow your Reiki to flow. And it's going to start to send healing towards world peace, harmony, love, wellness, safety, nourishment, togetherness, balance, integrity, connection to their own divinity. Calling in that higher self-awareness. Bringing in a heightened state of intuition to each person who wants this. Just really letting them feel that there is a solvable answer coming, that their riddle is being solved. We're aligning them with that frequency now. And again, they are free to accept or reject that energy. And you might have these beautiful visions, and you might see some hard things where the energy's stuck and stagnant. And you're just going to watch what the Reiki does. And I've actually seen it just jump right over people that weren't willing. And I've seen other people just breathe it in and accept it and really, really love it. And I know that the person that didn't want it had a moment of, oh, what is that? I could go that way. And it's a minute where they have that choice. But again, we're operating in the free will zone here on Earth, in the 3D realm. So you have to let them have that. But this is just giving them another option. When you walk by with that tray of hors d'oeuvres and they have another option, then they can either just stay stuck, or you can walk by and say, do you want to stay stuck, or do you want some of this? Someone's going to want some of that, and you just go where you're going to make the best impact, right? So, and some people might think, the best impact is to shove that hors d'oeuvre down that man's face because he's the one who's the problem. And other people might say, let's just give it to the people who are suffering and who want this and who are ready to heal. Those are the ones who are usually ready to shift. Eventually, everybody's going to be ready to shift at some point on one of these times here on Earth, if you believe in reincarnation, right? So we're allowing people to evolve, and we're bringing the light here as Reiki practitioners. So this is what's called a Reiki triangle. And you can set this up on your altar, and you can beam it, for 5 minutes every day. You can sit here for an hour, or you can do what we did in class. If you have a bunch of people who are attuned to Reiki, everybody can get in a line and put their hands on the person's shoulders in front of them. And then that person will have somebody with their hands on their shoulders. And then that person will have somebody with their hands on their shoulders all the way around the room. And everybody is letting go of their attachment, and they're making themselves available with an open heart space to allow the Reiki to go towards this person in the front of the line, their paper. And their paper has their intention. And so you're holding space for this or better, whatever's in the highest good for all concerned. And you're letting go of your own stuff. You push your own stuff to one side and you're just allowing yourself to channel the light for that person. And that's what you're doing. So that'll go on. I've seen unbelievable, miraculous results from this when there's more than one person doing this. It's uncanny for me. It's one of my favorite things about teaching Reiki level 2 is to see what happens for people. I've had, like the one that comes to mind right now is there was a girl, she was having some family problems. Her brother was very sick and it created dad to go and seek relief in an affair. Mom didn't know about the affair. The intuitive daughter who was in my Reiki class did. Dad was avoiding the daughter because he was trying to hide something, and it was this thing. So she was the healer of the family, and she ended up coming to Reiki, and we did a Reiki triangle on that situation. She got out of that class, and he had called and had an epiphany where he just missed his family and wanted to have a family outing, and they all went down to the harbor and took a walk on the beach, and he professed his love to his wife, and they had like this unbelievably like loving, tearful, beautiful, happy ending kind of a day. And she came back to class just elated. That happened. I'm not saying that that's going to happen every single time, but he was ready for that, and the light just helped push whatever it was through to help him to realize what was truly important to him. Now, like, let's say the stress in the family was creating pressure on their physical bodies, or the kid who was actually sick. To feel more love and more light come into the room was actually very beneficial to that child physically. People usually have an easier time healing when things are in balance in their life. So when I did it for myself in my class was my sister-in-law who had a stroke, and she regained 30% use in her arm that day, which I think is amazing, like amazing. So what else have I seen happen with this? Oh, I've had people who like hadn't had a job in a while get like 3 or 4, but not 3 or 4, but like a couple of job offers that they were waiting to have come through after a Reiki level 2 class where they were sending Reiki to the situation, and they were able to call in and break through those barriers. And oftentimes the barriers are within yourself. So if you have a fear of success or a fear of failure, then it's going to go right there, so that you are releasing all of those blockages so that you can open up to abundance. And the same can be said for love. So there it is there. That is a Reiki triangle, or again, a Reiki box. It just depends on if you have a box or a triangle in the middle. Everything else is the same. So we did the photo technique. We did the Reiki triangle. The next one is the finger method. So I could wrap my hand around my finger and pretend that this finger is the person that I'm sending Reiki to, or the situation. I don't ever really use this one, but it's in the pamphlet, and it is a real Reiki technique. So some people prefer to be able to say, okay, I'm going to by proxy your being onto my finger, and I'm going to envision that you are shrunken down like this big, so I can visualize the whole body, and lay you down right here, and I'm going to send Reiki to my finger and visualize that like I'm sending it to your feet, I'm sending it to your knees, I'm sending it to your hips, I'm sending it to your heart, I'm sending it to your throat, like that. So that's the finger method. What else do we, oh, then there's the teddy bear method. So let's say that this is a teddy bear. This is my gong mallet, but it is fuzzy like a teddy bear. So I'm gonna pretend like this is the person's crown chakra. So I'm gonna send Reiki to their crown chakra. I'm gonna send Reiki to their ears. I'm gonna send Reiki over their eyes, send Reiki to their throat, and you get the picture. So if this was a teddy bear, they actually have like ears and eyes, and you know, it's kind of easier to by proxy envision that person is superimposed onto the teddy bear, and you're going to work on that teddy bear. Fun for kids. Fun for kids. All right, so we're also going to talk about distant beaming. So you can just somebody, like let's say somebody's across the room from you, you can draw chokure, 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 seihiki, 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 honchazation in, honchazation in, honchazation in. And you can beam Reiki to wherever they are. It's like shining a spotlight on the person and just sending light to them. So again, if you get the feeling that this person does not want you to be tuning into them, don't do that. Like if it's an ex or somebody that you broke up with that you now suddenly feel like you want to get back in touch with, this is not cool. That is not okay. It's like an invasion of privacy to try to peer into somebody's, you know, vibration that way. You want to have intention. You can, however, say, okay, I want to heal from our breakup and I feel like there's some unresolved issues going on and I would like to send Reiki to my side of it. Like if I am still feeling unresolved, and while I'm sending healing to that, you might actually see that person's higher self come in and feel like this is healing to both parties, but your intention is not to change their mind. Your intention is to resolve and bring closure and bring light and freedom to yourself, when the domino effect of you healing yourself will actually heal the other person or give them an opportunity to heal. So just by you doing this, it's creating shifts so that things can move. But you're not directly trying to just shift that person without you shifting. See the difference? So that's beaming with distance healing. And there's a whole step-by-step how to do a distance healing on page 24. Okay, so if somebody were to hire me to do a distance session, one of my favorite ways to teach this is to use text. I mean, people don't usually call anymore. It's more common to text. So what you would do is you would have them text you a picture, and they would pay you. It was going to be an hour session or however long you want your session to be. You can do a 20-minute session, 15-minute session, half hour, 45 minutes, hour, whatever you want. I generally do an hour or a 90-minute session when people get a session with me. So I would have them send me a picture of them, or I would download it off of social media and then set it up. And then I would text them, you know, okay, I'm going to be I'm starting your session today. Is there anything that you want me to focus on? And you let them know, you know, I'm going to be starting at 6 o'clock. I'm going to be ending at 7 o'clock, and I'll text you again when we're done. And they're going to text you what they want you to send healing to. Like, yeah, I just got out of the hospital and I'm in bed, and I would love it if you could speed up the healing process, because that's one of the things that Reiki does, is it speeds up the healing process. Great. What did you get surgery on? Okay, great. I'll send you some physical healing, and at that point, I probably do more of a chokure situation and then honchazation, and because we're doing something that's not necessarily emotional, but you may realize, oh my gosh, this person got a physical symptom that they needed surgery for because of an emotional condition, and then you might actually realize, oh wow, let's send him some seihiki energy too and start to work on some of the underlying causes and conditions so that it takes the pressure off of that part of the body, and that isn't stored up in there with this trauma anymore, and it can start to move and dissipate and allow more light and life force energy to heal faster. Okay, so again, on page 24, you want to clear the room. You want to ask that all the energy and information that comes through be in the highest good for all concerned and what that person is ready for. I say this every single time I do a healing. You want to visualize yourself being clear. So there are free chakra meditations that you can watch of mine on Vimeo, on my YouTube channel, mystical_institute on Vimeo, and the Holistic Mystic on YouTube, and theholisticmystic.com. There's a chakra meditation on there where you're just going to visualize swirling light going through each of the 7 chakras all the way up, and visualize yourself in a big beautiful ball of light. You can even draw a chokure over yourself, over the 4 corners of the room. And you're going to say some sort of a affirmation. You're going to really visualize roots growing down from the soles of your feet. You're going to visualize a line of intention going straight up to the highest vibration of Reiki light. And you're going to say an intention such as, I call in Reiki light to go wherever it is needed for the purpose of blank, whatever their intention is. And I call upon my higher self to show me where to go, what to see, and how to direct the energy flow for, and then state their name. Then you're going to draw the symbols. And then you're going to, use any crystals that you want. I sometimes will pull oracle cards, and we have a 5-element card spread that we can do. And you're going to listen. You're going to listen for that inner voice. You're going to listen for that inner vision. You're going to feel, and you're going to receive knowing as to what needs to happen in that session. And you can even ask, calling in your higher self, what does this person most need to know at this time about their healing process? And then you're just going to scan their body. So scanning is like, okay, so I'm going to just visualize. I feel really, really drawn to the top of their head. It seems like they're not connecting up here. So we're just going to place our hands right here, and we're going to beam light into the crown so that person feels more centered in their body. And we're going to start to bring that light all the way down, and I'm going to notice, oh, right here in their heart space, there needs to be some ease and some comfort. There's been some grief here. We're just going to visualize the light right there. We're just going to ask for that grief process to melt away and to transition. We're going to call on this beautiful healing light to just glow right in the center of their chest. You can stay there for as long as you want to. Once it starts to move, you might feel like you need to go back up again. Let's start to clear a little higher, going into their high heart, into their throat chakra. And sometimes I move my hands, sometimes I just hold. But I'm envisioning that they're like in between my hands here, or I'm like directly over the picture. But energy follows intention, so what you're sending it to is what's important. You're envisioning it, and I allow the intuitive guidance to drop in, and it's dropping in from the Reiki light. You're just maybe feeling drawn. Oh wow, okay, now I feel like I need to go over here. The energy's moving. So now that it's over here, I can resolve this just by bringing my hands to the stomach area, and this feels like a washing clean, radiating expansion here, bringing in more white light into the area. And you'll see it dissolve, and you'll want to go to the next station. So now I'm in their legs and feet. I'm in their root chakra area, and I'm allowing like this. It feels to me like liquid light going in and just melting any trauma, any toxins out, anything that's unwanted or unhealthy, and we're just realizing that the light knows what to do. And that if I don't get too involved in what's going on with the person, and I just hold space, and I'm centered, and I'm grounded, and I'm in a good space, and I'm just observing, and I'm letting the light show me, you'll feel these gentle nudges of what to do next. And just stay. Sometimes things are very stuck, and you can stay there for a long time. And sometimes I'll just visualize like a wash clean, just all the way through their aura like this. This is, you can envision like you're just almost like a rake, like a Reiki, lights coming out of your hands, just combing through really softly, just combing through. And anything is like building up at the end. You want to visualize that going down into Mother Earth, all the way down, releasing and being transmuted into the earth. sometimes you'll get impressions, or you'll think, oh, I want to pull a card. It's okay to do that, but you're still holding the light, because if you stop sending Reiki with your eyes, with your heart, with your intention, even if your hands are doing something else, you can still stay in the zone. You don't want to just drop the energy and disconnect from the person and start doing something else, because they're gonna feel that, right? And then they might not be super tuned in, and they're sitting there with you for an hour or so. During that time, it's hard to just send Reiki, but it's amazing the results that can happen when you do beam Reiki long distance from somebody. They may not even really know that that's what's going on, but they'll just feel better. Their ideas will start flowing better. I had a woman who was in an art therapy class, and she was blocked. She couldn't create anything, and it was devastating. She really was looking forward to it. I think she got stage fright. I sent her Reiki, and all of a sudden she just started sending me pictures of what she was creating, because the Reiki was inspiring her. She didn't know that she was having a session. She was just getting creative ideas, right? But she had kind of asked me, like, hey, can you send me some light? You know, I'm in this class. I want to, people do that all the time, and I did. But to her, I mean, I think she was more focused on what she was doing rather than sitting in a meditative state receiving Reiki. But I was really focusing like this. So I'm envisioning them, like the light just flooding in, like as if they were just sitting right here, and the light is just flooding in from the heavenly realms. It just feels really, really good. Now, as Reiki practitioners, it's flowing through me right now as I'm sitting here. It's almost hard to talk to you guys, but while you're sending it, you're going to be receiving it too. So it's okay to notice that you're in a healing process sometimes while you're sending Reiki, but you still want to keep your focus at least 75% on what's going on with that person, and know that if there's something you need Reiki for that's coming up while you're the healer, that you're going to tell that little part of yourself, your inner child, or that little wound, I know you're there, I will get to you later, I promise, and then make time for it later, but just kind of push your stuff off to the side and get back into this. And that can actually be wonderful, to take a vacation from your own work and to do this work for a while. It's just really nice. So I'm gonna let go again, and right now I'm gonna see if I can allow some of this to go into the screen. All right, so I'm gonna bring my hands to heart center. We're gonna conclude, and I'm gonna get on with the reading portion. But if you are in a session, you would let them know, okay, that's all the work that we're gonna do today. Text that in. How are you feeling? I felt really drawn to your solar plexus. I really felt like your crown chakra opened up during the session. I don't say things like, you felt really shut down or blocked there. I say, I really felt like you opened up during the session. It's way more encouraging, and it's true. So, you know, you want them to leave feeling inspired. You want them to leave feeling like something positive has occurred, and then encourage them somehow by letting them know, I think these are some of the crystals that I used. I used some morganite here, so I felt really drawn to bring in some pink light into your you know, creative energy and process today. We're calling in this just mesmerizing love energy, this white light energy, and that usually is just what they needed to hear. It's what they're calling you for, right? So to take it a step further, if you're somebody who wants to do a little bit of the psychic development, I'm gonna grab some of my cards. So my cards are right up here. Oh yes, we're gonna get that deck. All right, so these are oracle cards. These are the Oracle of the Unicorn by Cordelia Francesca Brabs. And I love it. It looks like the Aurora Borealis here. So you just want to clear the cards. We're very powerful beings. You can just clear the energy of the cards. You can draw a chokure over your cards. This is another fun way to use chokure, chokure, chokure. And we're going to hold the intention that all the energy and information that comes through these cards are going to be in the highest good of all concern, what this person most needs and what they're ready for. And then we're going to shuffle the deck. So however you shuffle normally is fine. And your intention is going to be on the person. So you can sometimes, if they're right in front of you, you can have them say their name 3 times, or you can think about them. Okay, so you shuffle until it feels complete. And then what I like to do is spread them out. So I'm going to adjust the screen so that you can see what I'm doing like we did before. Okay. All right, so we're gonna do is this 5-element card spread here, okay? And this is on page 28. Okay, so we're gonna draw 5 cards for the group. Okay, these are the cards, and I'm gonna move these out of the way. And then I'm just gonna tune in. I'm gonna trust that they're in the right placement, because each placement means something different. Okay, and then I'm gonna retune into it. I'm gonna feel, okay, no, I actually wanna shift that now. This feel, yeah, no, that felt right. We're gonna really just get solid on that's what needs to be where. Okay, and over here, so number 1 to the left is in this 5-element card spread. This is the element of fire. So this is what Spirit would like to bring to light for this person today. And what we got is the card of rebirth. Okay, so it says, reinvent yourself, give life to your dreams, and create a new reality. And it's even the color of fire. Like, look at that. I totally did not plan this. I mean, you saw what I just did there. And that's so wild. I love how Spirit works. Over here is the element of earth. Okay, and this is an action that they want people to take. You know, they're bringing this up, this rebirth energy, and they want you to move it out into the world to do this. Okay, so receive. So they want you to actually do this. This is a tangible thing that you can do. Be open to receiving goodness. Believe that you are worthy of abundance. A gift is coming to you soon. So good. So this can be challenging for healers. Sometimes healers are so focused on everybody else that they often forget about themselves, especially if they're empathic, right? So when you're empathic, sometimes if everybody else is happy, so are you, and your whole life becomes about that in an imbalanced way. So in a balanced way, maybe you take a time out. Maybe you don't get to everybody else's problems. Maybe you actually allow yourself to spend a little bit of extra you time and do some things for yourself that you normally wouldn't do. Take that yoga class, go shopping and get all those ingredients and cook for yourself and get a massage, whatever it is that you need to do for you, okay? Because again, you're in this rebirth. And over here is water element, okay? So water element is all about, emotional healing, and it's very dreamy, and you got this support card. So this is what they want you to manifest or to receive, and they want you to receive support. Ask for help, get more rest, and nourish or nurture yourselves. Now, those of you who are in this Reiki 2 class, this is perfect for you, because you're going to be going through a 21-day clearing process. So you're going to actually really need some you time. This is a great reading for your rebirth cycle. Over here is air element. This is what they want you to give energy to, okay? And the card says freedom. And this is what it's all about. This is what we want. Live wild and free. Choose your freedom. Claim your independence. So maybe you're thinking, I have had it with my 9-to-5 job. I am ready to go out and to be a leader and to fulfill my divine life purpose. Well, what I'm going to say to you is let's not yet. Let's actually wait until you've actually completed your 21-day process, but know that you are giving energy towards this. that every step that you take towards liberating yourself, freeing yourself, and creating a construct of this is the design that I want to create and teach with, and that I really like love to do this work, and this is who I really am, this is where I'm headed, and I feel so liberated just knowing that. And then creating a way to bring in clientele for yourself so that you can take that giant leap of faith when the time is right. Okay. And then this is your message from Spirit. Okay, so okay, so the card says past lives. So this is very fitting. Release your past life karma. You're an old soul with deep wisdom. Healing your past lives will raise your vibration. Okay, so I specialize in past life healing work. I do all kinds of work with people on a soul journey. If you're in this class, you are on a soul journey with this class, and I applaud you for taking this step. A really fun thing that you can do with your Reiki is you can send Honsha Shonen to your past lifetimes once every day for 30 days, and you can choose 5 minutes, you can choose 30 minutes, you can choose a full hour. And what you're going to be doing is you're just going to allow that Reiki light to go into all of your past lifetimes, and it's just going to feel really amazing to you currently in whatever it is that you are working through. This sends the blockage all the way, or the clearing through the blockage all the way through your timeline. Okay, and that's your message from Spirit. So what I would do at this point is I would take a picture of this and I would send it to the person after they're healing with me. And then I would give them a little bit of insight on it, ask them if they have any questions, ask them how they're feeling. And then if you don't know the answer to their questions, it's okay to just say, you know, I don't know. This is all I'm getting for you today. And that's totally fine. But this is how you do it. And we're going to bring you back up. There you are. All right. So that can be brief. Sometimes people will just pull one card, but I just give you how to do a whole 5-element card spread, and I do this for all my readings. People always get this spread with me. It's my favorite spread. But there's many other ones. Like if you were to get out your book, I think they even have a unicorn spread in here, which I haven't tried yet. Totally want to try it. If you want to try it with me, let me know. We'll do a unicorn spread for you. All right. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, so this is, you can do Reiki on a list of recipients. So oftentimes when you first start out, people will start asking you to just send them Reiki. And if you're practicing and you need the practice, it's totally fine. They're paying you in feedback. So you don't always have to charge money in the beginning. After you don't need feedback anymore and you realize that there is effort involved in learning how to become a Reiki practitioner, you can charge money. It's really okay to have an energy exchange. In fact, it's really good for both parties. It's good for them to take responsibility and not owe you anything and to do this for themselves. It's very empowering for them to pay for their own sessions and to know that they're investing in themselves rather than like owing you something. Or it's just stickier when you're doing favors, and it's harder to stay in non-attachment and take it from me. It's just it's actually been really, really nice for me to just have a straightforward, yes, if you want a healing from me, this is what it is. And then I don't feel used, and they don't feel like they're taking advantage of me, and I don't feel like they owe me anything, and it's nice. But in the beginning, I didn't mind. I wanted to do Reiki on like all kinds of situations. I always wanted to do Reiki. I was excited about it. I couldn't wait to do Reiki. I was like, oh, do you want some of this Reiki? And so for a long time, it was like that. And I didn't feel resentful at all. And it was great. Since I started charging, my clients are more serious about it. And I actually get people who are very dedicated to their healing process now, which is nice. And that's one of the things that happens when you start charging more money, is you get people that are taking it seriously. But doing a list of recipients is you can just say, okay, I'm going to write down all the names of the people who've been asking me, for help. And then at the end of the night, I'm going to send everybody Reiki for 20 minutes and then I'm going to go to bed. Sometimes people will do this on social media, taking Reiki requests. If anybody wants me to send Reiki, drop me a pic below and they'll send their pictures down. You can even do it right from your Facebook screen, or you can do it from Instagram Live. There's lots of different ways to have a list of recipients, and it can be all the people that are just pulling up on your feed, sending them Reiki. It's a beautiful thing. So you can do Reiki on yourself as a child, yourself in the future, past lifetimes, somebody who's passed on. You can do it to heal a relationship between two people as long as it's for the highest good. You can do it over a global crisis. You can do it for planet Earth to nourish your garden. Oh my gosh, I love, 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 love to connect with the elemental beings and the fairies and the elves and the gnomes. And I know I'm very connected to the elemental kingdom, so I can say that. But when I'm in my garden and I'm sending Reiki, I sometimes will feel the butterflies and the birds wanting to come closer. Lots of hummingbirds are around us, lots of monarchs right now. It's summertime here while I'm recording this here in California. So when you're doing Reiki, you might really notice that the wildlife comes in and it really responds well to it. So if I do a transplant on a plant and put it into a new pot, you can Reiki it and even set up what's called a Reiki shower, which is drawing Honsha Seishonen, Seihiki, Chokurei, or any other Reiki symbols that you might have over it. And you're going to ask for all the Reiki that needs to come through for this plant for as long as it's needed to go ahead and stay as a Reiki shower over this plant or something like that. And then just let it go. And then take a step away knowing that it's continuously flowing and you've let go of it. Very cool. So you can even send Reiki to connect with your, your higher power, your spirit guides, your higher self. Sometimes that's a fun thing to do, calling in your Reiki guides to come in, which we'll go over in Reiki level 3, and just sending light to them and letting them, then sitting back and receiving light. And then sending light and then receiving light. And it's a way to create a relationship with your guides. Okay, you can Reiki your bed, you can Reiki your furniture. Like, let's say you've been having really irritated sleep or nightmares, night terrors, or anything like that. It's very common when you're going through a healing process to have what's called Reiki dreams, where you're actually dreaming about what you're healing in your subconscious. And I'm laughing because of my dream last night. I had this hysterical dream about some rock stars that I used to idolize when I was a kid, and they were in my dream, and I was learned more about them since I got older and wondered, why maybe I had so much respect for them then, and now I'm seeing them in a totally different light. And so it doesn't feel quite the same way to me, but so I had this dream that I was trying to decide, how I felt about them now. And they were showing me their back, and they were showing me all their tattoos, and they were showing me like the placement and the colors of their tattoos, and it had a hidden meaning to like some of the work that I was doing on myself, and the way Spirit was showing it to me like a patchwork quilt. What I was working on, like the different puzzle pieces that are fitting into place of my own healing process. And it was like on the back of that celebrity, and they were showing it to me in all of my favorite colors. So it was just like super wild for me to decode what that meant. And I was decoding it on the walk that, the patchwork was what I was healing. And I'm changing my philosophy because I'm growing and I'm seeing things from a different perspective. And that's what Spirit was trying to show me. So like that. But if your dreams are really gnarly, like let's say you're healing from past lifetimes and you're remembering trauma as a child, you can wake up and just feel like, oh my gosh, you just want to Reiki the room after that, because like a lot of energy is being released. So you can Reiki the room to have like a much more peaceful night's sleep. So people call me to do house blessings and house clearings, for their children's bedrooms, especially if they have gifted children. Or you can come in and you can create this just beautiful intention of white, rose petals, or just healing light to support a restful sleep. So that's something you can do. You can Reiki your furniture. You can Reiki like I used to love to go to secondhand stores. So fun for me, it was like a treasure hunt to go into antique stores or consignment shops and to go and to find these things that had a history and a story to tell. But sometimes as an empath, you can do what's called psychometry, where you can touch an object and you can read the energy of the object. And I think that's why I liked doing it so much as I was learning how to use my abilities. But sometimes it was bad. Like I would pick it up and go, oh God, I'm gonna put that down. And some days I was like, oh, but this is so cute, I really want to buy this, but it feels awful. Like I would take it home and I would Reiki that and clear away the energy of what happened with the person who owned it so that I could connect with it with my own energy. And you can do that. It's work, but you can do it. So let's see. You can Reiki your food. Okay, so really great thing. If you have to get fast food, sometimes you do. Sometimes you just don't have time, and you can feel like this food has no life in it, or you're concerned that, you know, that waitress or waiter doesn't like you and you're worried they did something to your food. You can chokurei your food, and you can bring out the nutritional value of it. You can clear the energy of it. You can help it to have a better, be more fulfilling or satiate you. So I've been Reikiing my food and praying for, you know, how the food was prepared, you know, all of the lives that went into the preparation of the food, praying for the food industry in general, that I'm not even going to get into it, but just visualizing the highest good for all concerned where it comes to the food industry. And I've also wanted to be satisfied. So very common for earth angels to have, you know, to try to numb out with like getting the munchies, or you know, getting into drinking a little bit too much, or different things that people do because, you know, we're feelers, we're feeling all kinds of stuff, and the third dimension isn't always easy, and our healing processes aren't always easy. So sometimes that happens. Well, if you're doing that and you want to work on that, which I'm working on, having like a more nutritious, balanced diet where I'm very satisfied with smaller portions, and I'm Reikiing my food for satisfaction and for nourishment, and for all of the nutrients to go where it's needed so that I am full, and it's been working. So there are so many possibilities. Just experiment with them. You cannot do any harm. All right, so that concludes our Reiki class. I'm so glad that you decided to join us. I ask that you just give yourself about 21 days before you choose to take the Reiki level 3. Unless you're really advanced and you're super used to working through energy quickly, and you don't mind having like a really powerful healing process, or what you call healing crisis. But if you take them close together, it will overlap, so it will just be twice as intense if you do decide to take them back to back. So it's recommended to do them 21 to 28 days apart. Anyways, you guys, it's been an honor to have you in our Reiki Level 2 class. Again, this is Alicia with the Mystical Institute of Healing Arts, and there'll be a link down below on how you can sign up for your attunement at theholisticmystic.com. I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye. All right, you guys, so we're gonna do a video on how to work with a pendulum, right? So this is a pendulum. You can get pendulums made out of wood, made out of crystals. You can get them made out of metal, anything. A necklace can be a pendulum, and mine's already going nuts. I've been in here teaching Reiki, so it's very happy in the energy in here. This is a Reiki board. Yes, no, maybe, and then unknown, right? So you can draw this on a piece of paper. You can draw a circle, and you can put yes, no, and what they're talking about is like this. So I'm already dialed in, but we'll get you connected in a minute. But once you're connected, you're going to be saying, "What is my yes?" And it's going to lean towards. So for me, this is yes, front and back. Woo! And it's going to show off for you. Okay, thank you. What is my no? And for me, it's very straightforward. It's like shaking your head yes or no. But for some people, it's not. For some people, there's like a circle, a clockwise circle, or a counterclockwise circle. And I'm moving it because that's not mine. I had to move it to make it work. But like, let's say we're to ask a question the wrong way or not be specific enough. Spirit would get confused, and they would go to a maybe, or they would go to unknown. And then I would have to rephrase the question. And for some Reiki or some pendulum charts, will say rephrase the question instead of maybe. There's lots of different pendulum charts that you can get, but this is a pretty basic one. Yes, no, maybe, unknown, right? So I do sell these. If you're interested in getting a pendulum from me, I can intuitively tune in and pick one out for you. These are about $33. I love, 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 love them. They're all different. I don't know if I have any more of these Vogels, but I have a really fun connection to get these where they have, this has got amethyst on top, and you can see how clear and high quality these are, and it's actually straight. Sometimes when you see them and they're more ornate looking, they're made with cheaper metals and they're not like glued on right. This one's upright, and it also has the little ball that's made out of crystal quartz at the top. And I love crystal quartz for a pendulum because it's known as the master healer, and you can program it. And so if you are, what you want to do is you want to program it after you clear it, actually. So you can kind of clear it right in the flame, or you can bring in some sage and you can smudge it. Or you can do it like right over the flame. It's very clearing for it. I keep mine in on selenite. So I have these selenite wands, and I also have these little selenite bowls where I keep my pendulums, because I'm using them all the time, right? So ultimately, I want to make sure that I am connected with my higher self when I'm working with my pendulum. Everybody has a higher self. Your higher self is always going to be this higher, more connected to source wisdom and the highest aspect of you. So there's lots of meditations that I have one on my website at theholisticmystic.com. I'll connect a link below to a nice chakra clearing meditation for you to watch, where you can just really get centered, really get grounded, really open up your chakras one by one, and really visualize this line of energy going straight up into the central sun out of your crown chakra, opening up your heart space and calling in your higher self to work with you. So I like to say I call in my higher self to work with my pendulum, and I ask that all the energy and information that comes through to please be true, to please be in the highest good for all concerned and what that person is ready for, okay? So we can ask questions like, let's say my client wants to know if so-and-so likes her. Oftentimes people will come in wanting to get like, am I going to get this job? Am I going to get this date? Or is this person that I'm seeing going to work out? Are we going to get married? Am I going to sell my house? Lots of questions like that are great for pendulums, where there's not so much spiritual healing. It's more about, I really need to just answer some yes or no questions. Now, what I'll say is that when you're working with higher vibrational beings and you ask them, should I do this? Should I marry this person? Should I take this job? This is not the type of question that's appropriate to ask, because what you're doing is you're saying, I don't want to take responsibility for my own personal growth. I'm basically giving my power away. And higher vibrational beings won't let you do that. They're allowed to guide and heal and support, but ultimately these decisions are yours to make, because it's your journey, it's your healing process. So it's really important to know that if you are getting somebody who's going to basically dictate your life for you, that's not necessarily going to be coming from the highest place possible. So I always make sure that I'm phrasing the questions in such a way that we are getting our guidance from the highest place possible. So would I make enough money? This is how much money I feel that I need to make. Let's just call it $100,000 a year. If I get this job, am I going to be making $100,000 a year? Yeah, you can ask a question like that. Or am I going to fit in at the office? You can ask a question like that. Is this the right fit for me? Am I going to be fulfilled in this career choice? Is a good question to ask. Another question to ask is this a successful company worth investing my time in, right? These are questions that you need to know for your own journey. Now, if you want to ask a question that's none of your business, that's probably, sometimes the pendulum just won't move when you're working with higher vibrational beings, and you'll get this feeling like, oh, I'm probably not supposed to ask that. Like, for example, is the woman who is interviewing me something very personal about them, like something about their health, or something just very, very personal about them that you just have no business prying into. It will feel wrong, and it's as wrong as peering into somebody's bedroom at night. Like, you just don't do that with your pendulum. It's not super appropriate. So, is this person right for me? Am I going to be happy in a relationship with them? Is this person open to having a relationship with me? Like, is this the right person? There are ways that you can ask that, like, especially if somebody's leading you on, and you don't know if they're really interested in you or not, you're getting mixed signals. It's totally okay for you to find out if you're being lied to or not. Like, is this person lying to me? Are they really genuinely going to show up this time? If somebody's been standing you up or saying one thing and doing another, then it's okay to get clarity on situations like that. But if you've been away from this person for a long time, and you can't get over them and you're supposed to, and you keep using your pendulum to tune into what they're doing with who, that's not appropriate. So it's best to keep your answers clear and to keep yourself clear. You want to have clear and sacred space. So I'll do another video on how to create sacred space. But this is a really good way. So if you're a Reiki practitioner, is to draw chokure, 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 chokure. Calling in light here, asking for the highest good, asking that all the energy and information that comes through, please be in the highest good for all concerned. That's a really simple way. Visualizing white light, visualizing the violet flame, calling in your higher self, master guides, angels, and light beings to come in and lift you up out of your ego and into your higher self today is a really good way. I teach the Moneki rites, so there's in the workbook and in every single one of those videos, I'm calling in the 4 directions or the 4 winds, which is another way of calling in sacred space. I have a lot of different ways of doing it. The most important thing is that you are doing something that you believe in, something that means something to you, that you're calling in what is the most holy and the most sacred for you, okay? And that you are in clear intention when you're doing that. And things that you can do to work with that is calling in the light, lighting a candle, setting an intention. Now, this sage is from my garden, and I was taught by a Native American healing circle when I was 11 years old how to use sage, so I understand what it's used for. But you're gonna really bring this in with the intention of releasing and clearing out what no longer serves you into the light, and really raising the vibration. Bringing in selenite and really just visualizing that you're clearing yourself with the selenite. You're getting in alignment with the selenite and asking your questions. Okay, so another really fun technique is with healing work on the table with the pendulum. So this is a hand-drawn chart. I'm sure I could come up with a better version of it, but I'll just explain to you how this works, okay? So let's say this is a person and they're laying on the table, okay? And this is their head and this is their feet. And these are their 7 chakras. I can come in like this and hold this over their chakras. Now, this is going counterclockwise. So if it's going counterclockwise, that means that there's an imbalance in that chakra. If I go like this and it goes clockwise, then it means that that chakra is fully balanced and it's working in harmony and in alignment. And if it's going really big like this, then it means that there's a lot of really positive energy in there. If it's not moving very much, it usually means that either you haven't fully opened up all of the meridian lines in your chakras and in your meridians and in your chakras, and you need to relax and call in light to flow through you and open up your palm chakras by tapping your palm chakras and making a ball of light, really praying and meditating for a little while and allowing the energy to move through you before you do it. And it can also mean that the person's life force energy is a little bit low and they could use some breath work or yoga or whatever works for them. If you get over a chakra and it goes side to side like this, it usually means that that chakra is closed. Now, that's kind of normal for chakras to have various readings when you're working on them. If a chakra is closed, then it sometimes needs to be, because more energy is needed in a different chakra at that time, and it's just sort of lending its energy to this area over here. And sometimes it's blocked or closed because that person is avoiding something, or it just has stopped their development and it needs to open again. Okay, so it's good to use your intuition to figure out what this person's story is when you come across something like that. If it's not moving at all, then that usually means that that chakra is shut down. And if you're not getting enough life force into the chakra and it's shut down, then that is when, over a period of time, if it stays shut down, that's when you can create, well, disease and pathology will start to form, because it needs its life force energy to do what it's supposed to do to be healthy. So it's a really good indication that that is where that person is going to need some healing work. If you get over a chakra, and let's say it's just going up to one side like this, or like this, so diagonally, that usually means that this person is ungrounded and they're trying to avoid their earthly plane. You'll see this a lot with very gifted people who have a lot of trauma, and they're not really wanting to resolve their trauma. They just want to feel better, so they're going up out of their body into the light to feel better, but there's still a distortion in their body. So as you work with energy, you'll learn how to get them more comfortable coming back into their body where it's healthier for them to be, and making it easier for them to be there by helping them to work through whatever that is. So that's how you work with a pendulum. Now with the energy work, a really fun way to do chakra balancing. I'm gonna see if I can balance this on my knees here and stay in the screen. It's easier said than done. Well, okay, I'm gonna hold it with my hands. Okay, let's say I'm over the person's root chakra and their solar plexus, okay? And let's say that their solar plexus is really locked up and it's not moving, but they're really, really fluid in their root chakra. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna envision all this energy from their root chakra, and I'm gonna connect with it. And I'm gonna be holding it like this. And I'm gonna breathe really comfortably. And I might feel so much energy that my hand starts to raise because it's just pushing my energy. The energy is pushing my hand up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get comfortable enough to really feel like, okay, let's see if we can push some of this energy into this part of you that needs it. And I'm gonna let this naturally happen, where I'm feeling my hand raise because the energy is now moving it up, because it's gone from this chakra to this chakra. And we're balancing the chakras. Okay, now you can do this through each one of the 7 chakras until you actually feel like they're all balancing, and this is called the seesaw method. And when you're done doing this, and this seesaw method can go on for a while, and you're allowing the light to flow in through your crown chakra, you're being very, very rooted in your body, and you're allowing the light to go into the palm of your hands from your heart space and sending light into the body. Breathing confidently and really feeling the flow and the liberation of being able to sustain that light yourself and not get tangled up in what's going on with the person. And your heart center is expanded, and you're feeling this pressure of this person just let go. And you're in this very benevolent state of calm and just really feeling what's going on with the body, anchoring in more love, more intention of freedom, and experiencing the bliss yourself. So this is really wonderful offering. And when they all feel like they're ready, you're gonna stop that, and you're gonna go and you're gonna get your pendulum out again, and you're gonna see, was there a change, right? So sometimes people like to write down what it was in the beginning and then write down what it is at the end, and we're gonna see, oh, look at that. Okay, so this was good before. So it's still the same. We're here at the throat chakra, and it's still going. It's not quite as ecstatic as the one that was on their third eye, but it's starting to open up. And as you sit here, it might even get bigger, because this is sending energy through the tip of your pendulum from your palms. And just paying attention to it and seeing it and encouraging it to open is another way to heal the chakra. And we're going to go to the next one. You might know, oh, this person's not in their body. Okay, so we're just going to hold space for them to come back into their body, and we're going to believe in them and help them to access that by feeling that they can do it. Now they're back into their body. Good job. And you're going to do this and so on and so forth all the way down. And that's what you would call a chakra balancing technique. If you are somebody who likes to work with crystals or likes to work with Reiki, you can draw some Reiki symbols. I'm drawing chokure, 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 and then go into your treatment. And again, you can draw any number of Reiki symbols, but you're just holding space to bring in the light and to help them to let go of what no longer serves them all the way out. And their chakras, so let's say we're working on my chakras here. We'll just start here. So there's this energy that comes up from the root, like two snakes, and it's going up and around the chakras on both sides. So it does this dance around the chakras, and then the chakras spin in the center, and then you're going to connect all the way up. So the energy comes in from the earth, and it's moving around the chakras, and it's going all the way up and connecting all the way up into the light. And it feels really, really good. So I believe in India they call it the igula and the pigula. Igula and the pigula are these different energies going up through here. And this is the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus, the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the third eye, and the crown chakra. And you have other chakras in the palms of your hand and the soles of your feet. There's lots of little ones, but these are the 7 major chakras. And then there's meridian lines that run through different organs and a different time of life, through a different color. And when those are all in balance, the symptoms tend to go away. So that's what we're looking for when we're trying to balance a person's chakratic system or energy system, or working in their aura. There's also layers of the aura. So when you're working over a body, you're looking for where your hands naturally want to land, because we are being intuitively guided. So sometimes you'll want to be really close to the body and stay there and soften, and you're going to be working throughout the aura. And other days you're going to want to really lift up high and be up in a higher vibration, because you're working maybe before you were on the physical, mental, emotional level. Now you're going up into more of the spiritual, celestial bodies of the person's aura to treat the person. And you'll stay there and just be really confident that you can do that. And as you finish, you can allow yourself to feel all of that light going all the way around them. And you can bring in this beautiful white light or an array of colors, and you can visualize, I seal this healing in sacred unity consciousness and love. And you can seal it in with the chokure, chokure, chokure for Reiki healers. And just hold that space. Thank you so much for watching. If you're looking to take a Reiki class or get a healing session from me, I will connect some links in the description below. I look forward to working with you. Have a great one. Bye.